"You're a burden," my son's wife said, and I didn't blink. At 11:47 p.m., my phone buzzed a low-balance alert beside Marianne's old pill organizer, and I decided my will and bank access would be mine alone by morning. I'm 74, living in Spokane, Washington. I used to run payroll for the city transit garage, so numbers don't scare me and timelines don't drift. Tonight I'm talking to you from my kitchen table, the stove light humming, my late wife's recipe box open like I'm borrowing her calm. Dinner at Evan and Brianna's had been family night. Their kids, Lily, 7, and Miles, 5, were sticky with dessert. Brianna smiled the way people smile when they're setting a boundary with a blade. She said they were stretched thin, driving me to appointments, picking up prescriptions, handling my finances. Then she leaned in, voice soft, and said the line again closer to my ear than my son's. I was a burden. I drove home quiet. I set my keys in the same ceramic bowl. Then the alert hit, checking balance under $500. I opened the app and screenshotted the last 4 transactions, 2 instant transfers to a name I didn't recognize, and an autopay labeled Crescent Lease. Mini twist. The transfers were marked scheduled by authorized user, not by me. If you're up late too, tell me what city you're watching from tonight. Then my screen lit again. Transfer pending $2,500 a bank alert. I didn't confront anyone. I printed statements. At 6:10 a.m., Wednesday, the 22nd of October 2025, I drove to Riverbend Credit Union with a folder that still smelled like toner. The teller desk had a little bowl of peppermints. I took none. I asked for 60 days of activity on my checking and my savings, plus the list of account profile changes. The branch manager, a woman named Karen, watched me mark each page and said, "You're doing the right thing by documenting first." Back home, I lined pages on the table like a map. The pattern wasn't one big theft. It was small, confident drains. $300 here, $475 there, always right after my pension deposit, always labeled family reimbursement. Total in 6 weeks, $14,280. The destinations weren't random. One transfer matched Brianna's initials. Another paid a storage unit I'd never rented. 2 ATM withdrawals came from a machine near Evan's office. At times I was logged at my pharmacy across town. I circled each item in red, then matched it to receipts in my glove box. The doctor copay they claimed? My clinic portal showed it was paid by card, not cash. The groceries for Grandpa? The receipt was from a gas station. Mini twist. The account email on file had been changed to an email address I didn't own. I asked the credit union to print the changelog, staple it to my statement, and email me a PDF copy for Dana Holt. At 6:03 a.m., my phone asked approval in a fraud text. That night, I invited them to neutral ground, the Pine Street Diner, fluorescent lights, no home field advantage. Evan arrived first, wearing the same jacket he wore to my wife's funeral, like it still earned him patience. Brianna slid into the booth beside him and ordered for the table. I kept my voice level. I set my phone face down, recording, and I slid a pen across my notebook like I was at work. Then I asked one question. "Did you move money out of my accounts?" Brianna didn't hesitate. She smiled at the waitress, then looked at me like I was a delayed shipment. "You're a burden," she said, clear as a receipt printer. "We're done carrying you." I nodded once. I didn't argue. I asked for it in writing. Evan rubbed his forehead and said, "It's not like that, Dad. It's temporary. We fronted expenses." I slid the printed statement across the table and tapped the total with my knuckle. $14,280 doesn't happen by accident. Mini twist. Evan admitted he had view access, but the log showed full transfer rights. Brianna reached into her purse and produced a thin packet titled Care Agreement. Evan whispered. Please don't make this ugly, like it hadn't started that way. She said we could make this official if I signed tonight. I stood up, paid my own check, and walked out with the audio file already saved to the cloud under today's date. At 9:14 p.m., my doorbell cam pinged. Evan held my trust binder. At 8:05 a.m., Thursday, October 23, I called the number on my trust documents, the attorney my wife and I used years ago. Her name was Dana Holt. She stayed matter of fact. I read Dana the transfer list, line by line, and emailed her photos of the change log. I also forwarded the diner audio clip, so her file would have the exact words. Then I called Riverbend's fraud desk and asked them to lock external transfers, remove every authorized user, and require in-person ID for any profile edits. They offered a temporary freeze. I asked for a new account number and rerouted my pension. Dana scheduled me for the next morning to amend my revocable trust. She said we'd replace Evan as successor trustee with a professional fiduciary and add a clause. Any attempt to claim incapacity triggers an independent medical evaluation chosen by my attorney, not my family. Mini twist. Dana found a new durable power of attorney filed last month with my name, but not my handwriting. She told me to bring my ID, my old documents, and every statement I'd printed. I put my spare keys and trust binder in a safe deposit box under my name. Before I could hang up, Riverbend emailed a confirmation. Access restrictions applied. At 12:22 a.m., an unknown voice threatened court in a voicemail. The next evening, they came to my house like it was theirs. My doorbell camera caught Brianna first, hair neat, arms folded, smile fixed. Evan stood behind her, holding Lily's hand like a shield. I opened the door 2 inches. I kept my chain latched, and I kept my hands where the camera could see them. Brianna spoke softly so the kids could hear only the warm parts. She said I was confused about the money. She said the bank freeze proved I couldn't manage. She held up the care agreement packet again and offered a pen. Evan added, "Just sign, Dad. It keeps things simple." I didn't raise my voice. I asked them to leave the papers in my mailbox so my attorney could review them. I wrote the time 6:48 p.m. on a sticky note and stuck it to the packet. Brianna's smile slipped for half a second. She said, "Your attorney doesn't get to decide what happens with our family." I recorded the whole exchange on my phone and saved the doorbell clip to a hard drive. Then I noticed the detail that wasn't about feelings, an appraiser's business card, dated for next Tuesday. Mini twist. They'd scheduled a home appraisal without asking me, before I ever agreed. I told Evan the kids could visit me at the community center on Saturdays, supervised by staff, and that any money talk was over until Dana said otherwise. Brianna's eyes went flat. Metal dragged at my back door, slow and deliberate key scraping. Friday morning, I went to my doctor on purpose. Not because someone drove me. I asked Dr. Patel for 2 things: a standard cognitive screening and a letter stating I was oriented, understood my finances, and could make decisions. I paid the copay with my own card and kept the receipt. It felt strange proving my own mind on paper, but I'd learned what they were building. A story where I was declining, and they were helping. In the waiting room, my phone showed a new email from Riverbend. Profile change attempted blocked. Someone had tried to add a new mailing address. The attempt time was 9:02 a.m. I was sitting under a wall clock in Dr. Patel's office at 9:02 a.m. Dr. Patel didn't dramatize anything. He used the same short test he gives older drivers: simple questions, simple scoring, nothing theatrical. He asked me the date, the president's name, 3 words to remember. I answered. He watched my hands fill out the forms without shaking. He printed the letter on clinic letterhead, signed it, and stamped it. Mini twist. The nurse said someone called yesterday asking for my records, using the wrong birth year. I left the clinic and drove straight to Dana Holt's office with the letter in my folder. On the way, I printed my pharmacy pickup history to show I'd been managing my meds myself. Before noon, the mail carrier handed me a certified letter. The certified letter wasn't from the bank. It was from Brianna. Inside was a notice of intent claiming I owed them reimbursement for care services and transportation, itemized like they ran a business. There were dates where I'd been home alone, watching game shows and microwaving soup. They'd invoiced me for rides they never gave. I photographed every page, backed it up, and logged the envelope number on the green certified slip. Saturday, October 25, they arrived with the kids and a bag of my favorite cinnamon rolls like forgiveness was a strategy. Lily ran to hug me. Miles followed, clutching a tablet. Brianna crouched to their level and said, loud enough for me to hear, "Tell Grandpa we can't come anymore if he won't sign." I knelt down and kept my voice soft. I told the kids I loved them, and that grown-up paperwork wasn't their job. Then I handed Brianna a printed schedule from the community center, Saturday visits, 2 hours, staff present. I also showed Evan the credit union's fraud log, time-stamped, and I watched his eyes land on the IP line. Lily tugged my sleeve and whispered, "Mom practiced your name on the printer." I didn't react. I wrote it down. Mini twist. The kid's tablet held a scanned signature file labeled Grandpa Sign. Brianna's face tightened when I asked for the tablet's recent files in writing. Evan pulled her back toward the car. At 3:26 p.m., the principal forwarded Brianna's request in a school email. The school email wasn't about grades. It was about access. Brianna had asked the school to remove me from the authorized pickup list due to safety concerns. She attached a page titled Temporary Guardianship Request, unsigned, but formatted like it came from a court. The principal did the right thing. He forwarded it to me and asked for clarification. On Monday, October 27, Dana Holt filed our response before they could file theirs. She sent a letter to the school stating no guardianship existed and that any pickup changes required my written consent. Then, 2 days later, a process server found me at the pharmacy and handed me papers anyway, with a hearing date set for October 30 and a case number stamped in the corner. It was a petition for emergency guardianship over my person and estate, signed by Evan, with Brianna listed as proposed conservator, set for Department 4B downtown. They claimed I was at risk of exploitation by whom, they didn't say. They listed my assets as approximately $300,000 and attached my trust's cover page, like possession proved authority. They also attached a screenshot of my online banking dashboard cropped so it hid the login device. Mini twist. Their petition cited the wrong bank and the wrong account numbers. Dana circled those errors in yellow and told me to breathe. "We answer facts, not volume," she said. That evening, my garage door wore a taped court notice. Tuesday night, I built my case the way I used to build payroll audits, clean, numbered, boring enough to win. Dana requested Riverbend's IP login history and device list. The fraud investigator printed it with a signature block. I highlighted every login that didn't match my phone or my home internet. We subpoenaed the notary log from the shipping store notary listed on that suspicious power of attorney. Dana also had me export the doorbell clip with the original metadata stamp, not a screen recording. The notary agreed to testify that I never appeared in front of her. I also brought in a witness who wasn't family, Mrs. Rios, my neighbor, who had driven me to appointments for years without ever touching my wallet. She signed an affidavit describing the night Evan and Brianna tried to pressure me at my chained door. Dana organized everything into an exhibit packet. Statements, change logs, the clinic capacity letter, the doorbell video, and the diner audio clip where Brianna said the quiet part out loud. Each page got a sticker label and a timestamp note, so no one could claim it was edited. Mini twist. The login IP address matched Evan and Brianna's home router, not mine. Dana didn't smile when she told me. She corrected one caption on our transcript, then initialed it like a ledger entry. She just slid the printout across her desk and pointed to the router identifier like it was a fingerprint. At 7:41 p.m., Dana sent the exhibit packet in a lawyer email. The hearing was Thursday, October 30, in a hallway that smelled like old paper and coffee. Evan avoided my eyes. Brianna wore a blazer like she was interviewing for my life. The judge asked simple questions first: where I lived, who helped me, what I understood about my money. I answered in plain sentences and kept my hands flat on the table. Dana introduced the bank logs and the capacity letter. Riverbend's fraud investigator explained the attempted address change and the unauthorized device logins. Brianna tried to pivot. She said the transfers were reimbursements for childcare so they could support me. Dana asked for receipts. Brianna produced invoices, the same ones from the certified letter. Dana compared them to my calendar and my pharmacy records. The dates didn't match reality, and the mileage amounts were copied and pasted down the page. Then the judge asked why they had filed a power of attorney with the wrong witness and the wrong notary. Evan stammered. Brianna said, "We were trying to streamline." The fraud investigator spoke again and confirmed the login IP address belonged to their home internet. Mini twist. Their bank records showed cash advance withdrawals the day before each transfer. The judge's face didn't change, but his pen stopped moving. He denied the emergency request on the spot and scheduled a review for restitution, with Riverbend ordered to calculate fees and reversal timelines. The bailiff turned the handle. I watched the courtroom door. They didn't apologize. They pivoted. The next week, Dana received an offer from their new attorney, repayment of $14,280 in exchange for me not pursuing further action. Dana countered with something cleaner: full repayment, written admission the transfers were unauthorized, and a permanent bar from serving as trustee, agent, or representative for any of my affairs. Evan signed. Brianna signed with a stroke that looked angry. Their lawyer asked for family healing. Dana ignored that line and asked for wire instructions. Riverbend returned the remaining funds they'd frozen mid-transfer, and the repayment hit my account in one lump sum on November 6. I printed the deposit slip and stapled it to the settlement letter. Then I changed my locks, updated my beneficiaries, and moved my documents to a safe deposit box Dana could access if needed. I also filed a written note with Riverbend. No family exceptions, ever. Riverbend's investigator also closed the case file with a note: customer competent, access abused. That detail mattered because it told the truth. It was never about my care. It was about their lifestyle and my silence. I wrote the kids a separate letter and mailed it to their school counselor to hold until they were older. It wasn't a confession. It was a map of what I did to keep them safe. Mini twist. The repayment memo line read, SUV sale, not family reimbursement. At 10:02 p.m., bright headlights washed my curtains car in driveway. I didn't call the police that night. I watched the camera and kept both hands on the table, like I was closing a month-end report. It was Evan, alone, hands in his pockets, standing at the edge of my driveway like a kid who'd been caught and didn't know where to put his shame. I didn't open the door. I spoke through the intercom and told him the only conversations left would happen in writing, through counsel. He nodded once and walked back to his car. I saved the clip, labeled it Nov 6, and turned off the porch light myself. The next morning, I signed the trust amendment with Dana present and an independent witness. I brought Marianne's wedding ring in my pocket, not as drama, just as a reminder of what we built. Evan was removed as successor trustee. A licensed fiduciary replaced him. The trust now funds two things: a modest education account for Lily and Miles, and a yearly donation to the Community Pharmacy Assistance Program in my wife's name. The fiduciary sends statements to me and Dana, not to family. It's not revenge. It's direction. Mini twist. I left Evan a letter, but no inheritance, only a dated timeline of choices. Here's the moral. Care without respect is just a polite form of theft. What would you do the moment family calls you a burden? I sleep fine now. The only surprise I keep is a doorbell cam ping.